Um, Stavros will be joining in a few minutes, but I think I can do it while he's out. So welcome to the IT panel discussion. It's a pleasure to have 6 panelists from companies from Greece. Let me introduce you first. Vasilis Tsivourakis, Software Development Director at OPAP SA. Then we have Anthony Milonas, Director of Technology Solutions in Programize. Okay. Then we have Lefteris Georgatos, Director of Software Engineering in Persado. Then this is Mr. Gerasimos Michalitsis, New Ventures and Data Analytics Competence Center Director in Netcompany-Intrasfot. Then is Mr. Krzysztof Rutczynski. Do I pronounce it correctly? Okay, cool. Lead architect from Deutsche Telekom. And last but not least, Mr. Panagiotis Lampetidis, IT Security Manager, not manager, IT Security Manager in Head of IT Security in SWOT Group. Okay, so the idea is that we're going to have a discussion. We have 3 predefined questions for every panelist, and then if we have time, you have the chance to ask questions to them as well. So I'm going to start straight away with Mr. Vasilis Tsivourakis. Okay, and the first question is, what was the most challenging issue that you faced as a company during the pandemic, and how did you overcome it?
Thank you. The most challenging issue we faced during the pandemic was for all of us to feel normal. When I say normal, to set some boundaries between our personal and work life. So the first thing we did as a company was to try to handle the time of all of us. And we stopped initially all the meetings during lunchtime and after the end of business day. It's something really important, actually. It helped all our people to feel better. Furthermore, we noticed that during the work meetings, this was a chance for all of us to get social that was missing during the day. So as a company, we encouraged the meetings to keep longer than usual, just for being social. One other thing, we tried to help all of us to stay fit. So we had some sessions, stay home and stay fit. And furthermore, one other issue was safety. All of us needed to feel safe. So we tried to have tests when some of us were at the office, rapid or self-tests for all of us to feel safe to come at the office. Thank you.
Yep. I believe we faced similar challenges. Operationally wise, it was very easy for us to adapt. Right from the start, our work has to do a lot with the US, so we just dial up a notch a little bit on the collaboration tools, and everything went pretty smoothly. The social capital, though, took a hit, so we are all missing the casual interaction, the spontaneous interaction, the impromptu when you meet a colleague and you discuss human contact. So pretty much along the lines of the esteemed colleague here. So again, we responded on this at the beginning intuitively, trying to replicate things that we did. For example, we had every couple of weeks a Pizza Friday. So during the first phase of the pandemic, at the end of the month, so we organized a Pizza Friday, and our HR organized for everybody throughout Greece. We were 60 back then. At exactly 2 o'clock, the door to ring and a pizza magically appeared. That was a logistic nightmare, but it was well worth the effort. No drone deliveries, but still, that might happen for COVID-25. And another aspect also that we found was difficult to handle was innovation. So innovation creation, so the operational aspect went very good. Transactional communications were easy to do, but all that energy and drive for people to collaborate and brainstorm or whatever, the means we had at our disposals really throttled that. So that was a challenge. Again, on this, we try to utilize tools back then, so whiteboarding and all that, but still this is something that I believe is not effectively addressed by what we have. Pure and simple, human interaction is better in that respect. I believe these are the two key takeaways from that.
Thank you. Okay, so I think that we had, probably we all have the same issues, right? So, but I want to add that I see three key issues here. So the first thing we had was that we increased the sessions for the meetings. And the reason was that the communication was no longer being as efficient as it was at the office. And for that reason, for example, an hour of session on office, we needed 2 or 3 times to discuss between us to figure out the issues. So that was one of the issues. And we definitely have, we still have increased sessions, but we are trying to schedule them beforehand, like not on the same day, because this kills all productivity. Because of the context switch. So that was one of the issues. The second big issue was the social. Since all interactions between us froze and we closed the offices for 2 years, yeah, some of us started to crawl back to their cages and stop talking to people. There are though good news for that, because we kind of some had better balance because they were closer to their people on the home and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, I don't think that we did anything better regarding the social interactions, at least when the offices were closed. Like we couldn't, this idea with the pizza was perfect, and I nod to my HR there. Yeah, I think that we are trying to handle the outcome of that was that people learn to live on their homes and work on their homes, and they do not want to come that easily to the office. And I guess that what Persado helped with, and I know that's not the problem, but it's the solution, but I think it's important, is the fact that we try to be as flexible as possible and just let the people know that you can work to the office, you can work to your home. Please decide to go to the office when you feel that you want to socialize, right? So this is really important. Yeah, I think that on that question, that's all I have.
Thank you. By the way, I can add to the pizza, the barbecues as well. We have other. Okay, the most difficult thing during COVID. It's a difficult question, first of all, because the 3 previous guys already mentioned all of the difficult issues. The other thing is that you assume that we overcame one of the difficult issues, so I have to mention something that we were succeeding with. Apart from all the rest that I totally agree, as everybody experienced all this, both the communication and the engagement and the socializing and all this. To me, the most difficult part of the COVID pandemic is happening now, not during the COVID pandemic. We all of us thought that the COVID pandemic one day will end. We will be vaccinated. We will be, I don't know, the virus will disappear, exactly. And we will go back to our normality. And we say it, going back to normality. Actually, we opened our doors and we entered a situation that is not normal, as it used to be, at least, at all. The world is changing. We experienced something totally different in terms of economy. We thought that we could print money and nothing will happen. Now we have inflation. A war is happening, energy crisis, whatever. And also, there is a disruption on the availability of the IT personnel. This is what we have to manage now. I consider it as part of the COVID pandemic. It is something like a repercussion of the pandemic, and this is what we have to manage. For me, and I will be frank, we have not solved it. we have not solved it yet. As Netcompany-Intrasfot, it's still something that we are working on. I believe in the power of the middle management, first of all, and I believe in the engagement on the emotional level. This is what I believe because this is my character. Maybe Deutsche Telekom has a better solution.
Hi. Thanks already for all these insights. So first of all, I have to say my algorithm failed because I thought I would be second after Pete, and I'm second to last. So you've all made all these great insights and remarks. So I'll just try to add to that. So for us, the challenge was, of course, the global pandemic, but for us was also, I mean, DT is a huge enterprise, but I mean, one of the particular program or initiative, and we actually started beginning 2020. So we scaled from 10 people to around 100, including partners, and we've launched the product in between. So this was, I think, super challenging because we actually didn't know each other physically before. Yeah? So I think it was really huge gap that we had to cover somehow. And like you've mentioned, I don't believe we really succeeded with it, but we tried many times and we iterated different things that could work. So apart from what you've already mentioned, I think we were really doubling down on communication to reduce this fear of missing out if someone was at home and, is there a kind of information asymmetry? Am I the only one that don't know about something? So we use some, communicators for that, for actually both ways, for some kind of announcements, but also for leadership team having a MEA channel that everyone can add questions, but actually try to have a little bit of this group communication and group chats. We also iterated a bit on the meeting culture. I really envy that you really wanted to reduce. We didn't get that far, but we also kind of get really small tweaks, for instance, start meetings 5 minutes after the full hour or finishing earlier. And also, let's say, on the meeting and culture to try to reproduce the stuff that you will have in the office, so kind of spontaneous discussions and random meeting at the coffee machine that you couldn't replicate it, but we try to kind of do it deliberately, but meetings not being really transactional, but rather really have a deliberate meeting just for coffee, between our colleagues, and I think that helped a little bit.
So, I'm lucky because I'm the last one, so I've heard all the good ideas here. Crap. So they're all valid reasons and valid points here. So the most challenging thing that we had to overcome, I believe, it's from our human capital to that we had this drastic change in our lives, both our personal and our work lives as well. So you had to see the human element here and try to cope with the people that you have and help them power through this brand new experience that no one had before. I believe no one here has ever seen something like this before. So yes, valid reasons, more meetings, we couldn't have less. New people, the company grew a lot. So from 70 people, we reached 250. Within the COVID pandemic, and I believe this happens to a lot of companies, so people that you don't know how they act, new faces, or sometimes no face at all. You don't know who's in back of the chat. The mobilization of our workers, because we did have virtual meetings with clients in Europe and all over the world, but still the human element, the local human element that you see, people wanting to have a coffee and they have a short meeting. They have lunch, short meeting. Or you have an issue, you don't have to, this phrase is becoming popular. Do you have 5 minutes? And for a call, this is, may I call you? This has been in our lives. I don't particularly like it. I've used it myself, to be honest. I've used it myself. But when we were in the office, you had the chance, to hop to 2 desks right next to you and say, how do we solve this problem? How do we go forward? And it's different now that you have a Teams chat, a Zoom chat, or whatever kind of new technology that came up now, and you have to cope with that. So everything are valid. All these are valid points. The human capital was the most difficult challenge, and for companies that did like to be on-prem a lot because of their nature, it was difficult to mobilize all their workforce and adapt quickly to a new way of communication and a new way of working, as well as drawing the line between your personal life and your work life. And I see this in myself as well. In the first stages of COVID, and we were in the full lockdown, the 8-hour, quote unquote, was never an 8-hour. It was 10, 11, because whatever. I mean, you were there. I'll send another email. Let me do this. I'm not doing anything else. The food is already in the stove, so hell with it. We can go a bit further. So that's about it for you.
Next question, and it will be the same for me. Opposite side. Do you believe that after 30 months since the first lockdown, back to March 2020, right? Do you believe that the IT industry is now more essential in the world? And if yes, why?
Okay, I believe it's for all of us IT people here. I don't believe it's now more essential. It always has been. There was the notion in the past that IT was just a red line in the P&L. It was a cost that nobody wanted to pay. It was something that nobody wanted to listen about. Everyone just said, go ahead, do it. That's it. Please do it. I believe this pandemic made people realize its value to the business, its value to the people, its value to the company. And it already had its value. It wasn't just formulated out of the blue. It's true that a lot of companies grew from this pandemic with new technologies. So IT helped companies launch during the pandemic, and very successful ones. New services and products came as well. So we realize how IT already was important, and we can see the aftermath during COVID years. And we all know, I believe, that it's crucial. IT helped us get through this with meetings with colleagues, as we said, for fun, or just to talk our problems, or just say a couple of personal issues, for 5 minutes a day, or make a minute longer the training. To me, and I believe most people would agree, it's not something new. IT is here. It helped transform companies before COVID. It helped them sustain during COVID. On other industries, we see that they weren't that able to be sustainable. So for me, IT was always a good, a good thing. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, so I also directly attached to that. So I think the IT industry really grew in value as a kind of product value. So also a lot of companies realized that actually these days every company should be a software company, and this brings so much more efficiencies and kind of new products. And yeah, so while also thinking about this, so I also wanted to attach to this that you've mentioned there, all these companies that really grew very fast during the first, let's say, year of pandemic, but then they also slumped a bit when stuff get we could really not we were not locked at homes. So video conferencing and any kind of fitness apps that were digitized, instead of us going to gym to try to do it at home, which one I mean exactly. And but still, what I think really remained is this backbone that was created by this really huge drive for digitalization. And by backbone, I mean mainly cloud computing, cybersecurity, and digital payment. And actually, from my kind of home or local market, like digital payment. I'm based in Germany, but I'm not German. I'm coming from Poland, and like digital payment was a reality 10 years back in Poland. But I thought, honestly, Germans will never get it through, so that's like cash was king. And here, by this really, necessity, it also was put through, yeah? So this were like massive movements, same with the education for kids, homeschooling and stuff like that. So I think it really helped us get this kind of backbone of digital services really strong. Yeah, so maybe I'll...
Thank you. I don't have a lot to add, to be frank. Do I believe that IT is more important? I agree. No, IT is not more important. IT was always important, always. Since, 10 or 15 years ago, it was important. It was that the public, us, we had, somehow, we were not letting IT to show its value. During the pandemic, we were forced to uptake IT solutions. We were forced to use e-shopping. We were forced to, use this special app that you can sign over the internet and not go to the police station that he will see your passport or your ID. Oh, what a crazy thing. The technology was there. It was there maybe 10 years ago. Nobody was ready to apply it. Nobody was ready to use it. Now, we didn't have, during the pandemic, we didn't have an option, a choice. We needed to use things like that, and we needed to take charge of our lives through IT. This is important, and what's more important, it's now that we lowered our defense, let's say. And why a defense? One may ask, why a defense? And I'll very quickly try to explain. It took us that much to move from stone to metal. That much to move from metal to whatever. That much to develop some kind of IT. And that much to deliver internet. It was 30 years ago, I won't say how much ago. It was 30 years ago when the internet started, and now it's a reality for all of us. We cannot imagine, and some of the people cannot even remember, your life without internet. The speed of change has surpassed now the span of our lives. It is normal that we try to stay away from new things. It is normal. For one reason or another, IT was here. It helped us during the pandemic. We are now open to IT solutions, and the speed of accepting IT solutions will only accelerate now. So it is important. It was important, but now we can open the doors and accept it.
Okay, so I think that they already mentioned almost everything. I'm really happy that I have the same ideas as you. So I remember my life before internet, just slightly, like not that much. But I also remember my father not wanting to pay with his credit card. Like, what? I'm going to put the numbers on this website. And now my father, I asked for a paper, and he told me, go on the site, gov.gr, you can print it. What? So, and they use single sign-on, they use taxes, and they put one username, one pass, and they have access to all services. This is crazy, right? This is Greece we are talking about, and we have gov.gr, and you have 100 services you can book. Yeah, so that was awesome, and that's an example that you didn't mention, so I could mention. So I think that, IT overall was always essential. People have no defenses currently, or maybe they lessen their defenses, so yes, we can push a little bit so that we can push new technologies, innovation, and have it on all homes, and have it on the cars, and have it on the phones, and have it, you know, all that thing that will make our lives easier, I hope. I think that, you know, we'll always push back. So people, they will always afraid the new things. This is something that is happening for ages. I guess that from stone to metal took longer than building the internet, but definitely every new change that we will try to put out to the world, they are going to push back. They won't accept it. So always there are going to be innovators, innovative ideas, and people, they will try to put the ideas to the world so that they use them, and those people are going to push back. And that's why we are here. We should keep on trying to make automations and life easier. So I think that the essential IT hasn't become more essential than it ever was. Maybe COVID made people brains more acceptable on accepting the solutions that we try to offer. And the solutions, the range of those solutions are from health, right? Because we also have, they check people through net, right, to see what the symptoms are, or surgeons are going to later on make their operations, maybe through internet. So this is something that, you know, if someone is in Italy and needs to be saved, you won't wait to move him to Italy or to wherever. So I think, yeah, we will keep on being essential to the rest of the world. And yeah, that's IT, and that, you know, it will always be IT for me.
So, a slight twist on what was said before. Obviously, IT was always essential. It drove innovation and presented real solutions. But this time, the problem space was global, huge, and a huge disruption which occurred in many aspects of our daily lives. So, IT, in the way we do things, flexible, quick, provided ready solutions right from the start. We shifted doing work remotely. We shifted the school systems to remote. We shifted working remotely, for that matter. So this helped curb the pandemic from day on. But later on, we also continue to build up our value in innovative ways that previously nobody would think possible. For example, the health systems shifted from being reactive, just providing healthcare, to being proactive with deep learning, machine learning, AI solutions which identified risk, patient risk, and helped focus energy and resources where they're really more essential. But what several people mentioned with their fathers and their parents utilizing e-commerce and all that, that was also a new barrier which was overcome. A digital divide was broken, and this meant that what we do, what we produce, what we bring forward is now, our target audience is much, much broader than what was before the pandemic. So in that matter, at least on my perspective, now we are more relevant than ever. And this is, possibly the last thing, there were huge disruptions in many others as well. The way businesses try to target their consumers, the way consumers choose what they want, the services, the products, all this shifted to the digital domain space. This also brought forward the opportunity for innovative approaches, newfound approaches to come forward. We do a lot of work with startups, and surprise, surprise, because now with digital channels, brick and mortar companies and entities now are on semi-level field with new approaches which on the digital channels can easily access consumers. We also are vested a lot in tourism industry. Back in the day, pro-COVID, if you wanted to present who you are and what you are doing, you need to participate in very expensive commercial exhibitions and all that. It became virtual. The storefront that possibly Expedia would have could possibly be exactly the same as innovative startup that had something to say and a solution to provide. So for that matter, our job suddenly became easier. We started targeting a broader audience, and now the society is perhaps more open to us on account of how we earned our stripes during a huge global challenge. Taken aside, and also, logistics, so many things I can't name.
I totally agree with all of you. IT has always been essential. It's not just now. I believe that something has changed because now IT supports everything. I mean, you cannot work without IT. My son cannot go to school without IT, especially during the pandemic. For all these applications, for all these things to be stable and perform really well, this is something that is more important than before the pandemic. I would also like to say that we are trying to make everything digital right now. We have an idea for an application for everything. And that really worries me because not everything needs to be an application. There are some things that needs to happen on premise, face to face. And I personally prefer to watch a movie in the theater and not using a messenger application with shared video and audio. So IT is not more essential than before. It's more anticipated. The value is more anticipated than before, but we have to be careful. We don't want to change everything. We want to make our lives easier, simpler, but not to change everything. And one last thing I want to say about cybersecurity. It's really important because we do everything digital, and cybersecurity is really important. We have to be careful to build applications not only as fast as we can, but to be secure and protect all the information and data in them.
Okay, back to me. So I'm pretty sure that you enjoy the discussion as much as I do. I'd like to ask you, because you have only 12 minutes, to limit the answers and next questions to like 2 minutes at most. Okay, just to respect the next speaker time. So probably you already answered half or indirectly. The next question is about the new remote hybrid work environment. Actually, my question, I know that every company does this, okay? Either hybrid or fully remote or, 2, 3 days at home. My question is if this actually fits in the IT world, especially in the software development, because we are, working as teams and stuff like that. So I will just randomly pick the next speaker and you can just do it after me, okay? So I think the youngest one here, okay?
Yeah, that's my fault. I told you before regarding.
Say a big thank you now.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm the youngest.
Okay, yeah. So we have adapted. We have this flexible. We give the flexibility to the people on Persado to choose between coming to the office or staying at home. And the only thing that we ask them, so I will skip that. I'm going back. So 2 years from home, how easy is it you change your life, right? You have built your office. You know that you are going to see your child after 7 o'clock. You know that you have your gym at the time. You know that you know everything. You have built everything around COVID. So how easy is now if you have changed the home and you have to commute, right? And you need an hour to go to the office. How easy it is to go to that person and say, okay, tomorrow you start to the office. So that's not easy. Right? So that wasn't an option for Persado. Persado couldn't just say, okay, guys, tomorrow we are opening. The offices, come back, please. Everyone, you start working here. The morale would go really down. People would be at flight risk all the time. And the hires that we did on the COVID time, they would gone, right? There would be on other companies. So we couldn't do that. We decided we should go with a hybrid model. And actually, we can give the option on people choose if they want to come to the office, if they want to stay at home forever, and if they want to do the hybrid, So this is the third option, the hybrid, right? So, and the reason we went with that, with the three options, was because of space. We needed to organize and allocate on the current offices we had, because we cannot, let everyone come and go whenever they want and have their offices and have their staff on the offices and never come back again. So Persado give three options. One is the office option. You can come to the office, 5 days a week if you like. You have your office, you have your staff, you have your monitors, you have everything. It's your office, right? But try, for example, to be consistent. Come 2 days a week, right? Or be consistent. You have the hybrid model, which is you can come to the office, but please go to a new application. We have an application for everything. We mentioned that, right? So go to the new application and just put your name there. I'm coming to the office tomorrow, or the day after that. So we know that you're coming to office, and we know what's the availability, and you're going to find a seat. So that's the second option. And the third option is for those people that now they went from Athens to Thessaloniki and they don't want to come back because they do not have a house, right? So they can stay to Thessaloniki, and this is the from home solution. We were working from home before COVID. We were doing it once or twice a week, and we never saw a productivity, ending. So productivity was always the same, and I think we covered this issue, but for us productivity is better now, but maybe we are not that good at work-life balance, and that's the end for me.
This is not random.
This is the shortest distance.
Okay. Okay. I will try to be short in order to hear some questions from the audience as well. No. No, okay, I will take 5 minutes. By the way, I want to object. This is not digitalization. The Voxxed Days has a sign printed, 2 minutes, 4 minutes. This is not digitalization. Okay. Let me say that we believe, and I believe, that there is no one-fits-all solution. It's totally different to have a very structured team, very specific, separate tasks between the team members, which are long between each other, long working, between each other as a team, and totally different for a company or a group or a team that has grown in the last 2 years from 5 to 30, or from whatever you said, sorry, but I didn't record the numbers. One way or another, our generation, and I will distinguish, the older employees still need some kind of social, physical interaction in order to create a culture. This is given for the older ones. I will explain a small example from my son. He's 15. He can return from school at 6 o'clock on Friday, hook up on his PlayStation, PC, whatever, with his headset, and enjoy with his friends through his headset for a weekend, as long as he has water and power, nothing else. He can enjoy like crazy. He doesn't want to see, he doesn't want to touch, he can only hear and speak, and he can laugh from his heart. He can also rage from his heart again. So his generation does not need physical interaction in order to actually bond, in order to actually create a culture. He has friends that he likes to be with through his earphones. He has friends that he doesn't want to hear again through his earphones. So there is we are in a transit stage right now. Here I am. a little bit older, and I'm used to work on premise. Here he is, after 5 years, or many of you, after 5 years, he will be on the market for working as a developer, hopefully. He will not require physical interaction in order to feel part of a team. We are still on transition phase. I believe that the hybrid scenario is the best that we can do right now, that we are transiting. We need to stay open to see issues like he cannot do. He's in Thessalonica. What can you do? He's in Morocco. I have a team in Morocco. Can I say, oh, no, you have to stay 3 days in office? I cannot do that. We have to be flexible. We have to understand. We have to be close to the situation that everybody experiences in order to accommodate all needs. Totally random.
Thanks. No, for us, the hybrid is the reality, and we've already done it also before, given that we are a very distributed team across Europe. However, I also agree it's like very different and individual, who is more productive and, also feels better, either at home or more working in a kind of solitude state or amongst people. And to a little bit argue here, but also just to prove the point, but that everyone has a bit of different context, is actually in our case, the colleagues which are young and just started after university, they were missing out a little bit on this contact because they have come with a lot of energy and ideas and motivation towards the working environment, and it was closed. Yeah, so this was also something that we've noticed and also had to address in a way. So it really depends on the person and context, and I think our responsibility is to give the tools to cater for both.
Random, huh? Yep. Okay. Totally agree with everything. There's no one answer for anything, for everything. So each organization has to choose its own path according to their people and how they are more productive. As you said, one person might be more productive at home, another person, because I'm kind of old as well, might like to be with my team in the offices a couple of days and have the human interaction, maybe afterwards go for a beer and bond. So, okay, to answer the general question, it is the present. We've seen it the past couple of years, a full remote and hybrid. It will be the future according to each organization. But it falls under the organization afterwards to select its own model on how they can work as a whole and be productive even in these sort of times. So in our case, we had to adapt. As I said before, we grew within COVID a lot. So 70 to 250 to 260 people almost. People that we didn't know, people that were young, people that were new, didn't have a face to see, to talk to. So that was difficult. It was difficult. So we, in short, we're trying to meet our clients' needs and follow them. So we won't do one fits all solution. If someone needs to be hybrid, we'll do hybrid. Want 5 days to be in the office? Sure, it's your guess. We can cater to that as well. If you want to be a few times, okay. But also there are projects that are specialized that we cannot have 100% remote as well. There are these kinds of projects that need to be physically located as a team in an office. So the choice is at the organization level and how can you be productive more. So randomly, well.
Thank you. So the question is, as an industry, we are equipped and the new hybrid model is suited for us. So knowledge workers, which is who we are, again, are flexible and can adjust and overcome. So the short answer is yes. If there is one sector in the economy that can adjust and utilize and thrive on the new work paradigm, I believe it's us. We are already employing heavily flexible work organizations, agile, etc., which are now also propagating widely across the industry in other managerial practices. So we have what it takes. Whether we make a good job out of it remains to be seen. For example, we are also following the steps of the esteemed colleagues. So we have switched to almost full remote, 2 days per month, and except if there are some specific project needs or if you are new and the onboarding process, we need to show you more who we are, the creed and all that, which takes perhaps more time to mingle with the team. And then we left the teams to self-regulate if and when they will come, if they want more. We have office space for everybody. And what we saw is that gradually people started coming in more and more. The challenge now is on us to create a work environment to make coming in the office provide you more, not penalize if you're not coming, quite the contrary, give you more value, opportunities to interact, and especially for younger people who possibly don't know what they would be missing if they're not coming to the office. They are lacking perhaps growth opportunities. I'm not saying coding skills or whatever, that can work just fine, but growth as a professional, soft skills, how to handle conflict, resolutions, and also loose ties, which is will help them, you know a person, not necessarily he's your friend or just a direct colleague, but he has something to give you that you didn't know that you need. All of these accompanied by trust that you need to provide to your people and your team. The fact that they're not there does not mean that they're slacking, sleeping, sitting on the beach or something. No. Encompass them with trust, and I believe you have a winning solution of how to move on work relations to a new era, the hybrid era.
I will be short because the time is up. The question is on-premise, remote, or hybrid. For me, the answer is choice. The IT industry knows now that the productivity is not affected if we work on-premise or remotely. So the answer is choice. We have to be careful for 3 things: work-life balance, company culture, and team building. These are the 3 things we need to have in mind when doing anything of this. Thank you.
So, yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. It was a great discussion. Thank you for your time and for representing your companies. I wish you keep enjoying the whole conference. Thanks again. Okay.